A badly beaten female Chicago police officer, says she didn't open fire on her attacker because she was afraid of facing backlash. Some people have called that the so-called Ferguson effect. Police say the suspect was actually under the influence of PCP when he crashed his car into a liquor store, then viciously attacked police officers who were responding to the scene. Tackled a female police officer, allegedly slammed her head into the ground repeatedly. The officer is recovering, suffering from a concussion, wrist and neck injuries. There are bone chips in her shoulder, and she did have to have some concrete removed from her face. The Chicago police superintendent says the officer was afraid of what would happen if she fired on the suspect.
She thought she was going to die, and she knew that she should shoot this guy. But she chose not to because she didn't want her family or the department to have to go through the scrutiny the next day.
For more on this, we want to talk it over with retired LAPD Sergeant Cheryl Dorsey and CNN law enforcement contributor and former FBI Special Agent Steve Moore. Good to have both of you with us. Steve, I know that you've said you're taught in the academy, no matter what happens if you shoot someone, you're going to be sued, and it will take years. Is that the mindset that people have going into these situations that police officers have to deal with?
Well, it's hard not to. I mean, I saw a comrade of mine on SWAT had somebody pull a shotgun on him during a raid. He shot at that person, and the lawsuit went for 10 full years. And that was 5 years after he retired. You cannot put it out of your mind that these things are going to follow you, even if, especially if you are simply defending your life.
Cheryl, though, isn't that part of the instruction that you also get in the academy, is how to make that decision as you're training someone to be an officer, how to handle things in that moment?
Absolutely. This is inherent to police work. And so we understand that we're going to be second guessed. Part of what we do in looking at how officers behave is so that we make sure we got it right. And in those instances when we could have done something better, we debrief after an episode to make sure that going forward we act in a way that may be better, right? And so it's a training tool. And for an officer to say that I was afraid of what somebody might think may mean that maybe this person doesn't have the skill set to be a police officer. I understand why the chief doesn't want to criticize her and say that she used great restraint. But if she's afraid to use the tools that were given to her, if she's not confident in her training, then she's going to get herself or someone else hurt. And maybe this is not the job for her.
Is this a problem, or is this, I shouldn't say a problem, but is this something that we are seeing more of across the country because we are hearing more about officer-involved shootings? Steve, would you say that this is a byproduct?
Yes, it is, and it's not simply that we don't know good shoot versus bad shoot. I saw one of my SWAT partners get involved in a shooting that was justified. He was one of the best guys on the team, and the next time somebody pulled a gun on him, he didn't use the gun, and he didn't even really know why. It's good officers who do good shoots who go through such hell afterwards that there is this fear, and what you're doing is you're taking a good officer and making it impossible for them to continue doing a safe job. Now, it shouldn't enter in. I agree with Cheryl. When your life is in danger, it's kind of like driving on the freeway and all of a sudden you see brake lights in front of you and you hit the brakes. You don't think about suing someone.
Unfortunately, we are out of time. I have to leave it there. But I really appreciate you both being with us because you have an insight that so many of us just watching these stories do not. Cheryl Dorsey, Steve Moore, thank you both for being with us. We hope to have you back again soon. I'm Erica Hill. Thanks for joining us on The Story.